Hello everyone, this is a Notifier NFW-50 fire alarm control panel. These were first produced in the mid-2000s and are a direct rebrand of the Firelight MS9050UD. The NFW-50 is an addressable panel, the smallest in the Firewarden series. It used a modified version of Firelight's clip protocol with a capacity of up to 50 addressable devices in any combination. The NFW-50 could be used in new installations for very small facilities or as a retrofit panel for older conventional systems. In either case, this panel provided a variety of modern features such as built-in strobe synchronization, a built-in communicator, and upload-download capabilities. So let's jump right into this. For this demonstration, the NFW-50 will be serving as a retrofit panel to older Simplex and Edwards systems. For the Simplex system, we have a 4251-20 pull station, a 4255-5 heat detector, and a 2903 9001 light plate with a 2901 9833 horn. For the Edwards system, we have a 270 SPL pull station, a 281A heat detector, and the 895B horn strobe. There's also an AN80 down here as well. All initiating devices on this system are conventional, but they are tied to the addressable SLC loop on this panel using monitor modules, such as this one. This is an NDM100 dual monitor module, and there's one more for the Simplex devices on the table. As seen in many addressable systems, devices can be mapped to specific zones, which can be used for selective signaling and other purposes. Therefore, the Simplex devices will only activate the 2903, and the Edwards devices will only activate the 895B. So let's begin with the Simplex system. Silence that. Alarm pull station on zone 1, and now is address 2. So now let's activate this heat detector. Carefully so we don't pop the disc. Silenced again. And this time, the heat detector was activated. Reset this. And now reset the system. Let this initialize and we can check out the Edwards system. Now for the Edwards system. We can use this AN80 to control the panel. Silence that. Now to test this heat detector. Silenced again. So now we'll reset. Now let's sound both signals at the same time. You can do that with the fire drill function. Press and hold. The NFW-50 used a moderately sized cabinet. It was one of the earlier panels to do so. This cabinet size would be standardized in later Firewarden panels, as well as conventional panels like the SFP10UD. The inside contains a single circuit board connected to a removable chassis. There's a small transformer on the bottom left, the batteries, the alarm communicator on the bottom right, and on the top are the terminal connections. Unusual for the Firewarden series, the NFW-50 used large screw terminals that weren't detachable. At the top left are the signal circuits. These can be converted to auxiliary power as needed. Next is the SLC loop, 3 relays, an ANN bus for enunciators and other serial devices, and terminals for an RS-232 connection to a PC. Elsewhere on the circuit board, jumper JP30 can be cut to disable the battery charger. There's a long connector here for a 4XTM transmitter module. There's a jumper here that can be cut to supervise it. A replaceable jumper right here disables ground fault detection. There's a switch right here to allow firmware updates to the system. There's a connector here for a PS2 keyboard interface. There's a replaceable jumper up here to enable the supervisory relay for the 4XTM module. And some later circuit boards will have a connector in this area for ANN secondary output. The NFW-50 used the same keypad display interface and menu structure as the SFP5 and 10UD panels. Press enter. You get a couple options here. Let's check read status mode. This allows viewing various system points, zones, signal circuits, and other aspects of the panel's programming, although no changes can be made here. Check a system point. Module. Let's check module 2. It's normal. Pull station. It's that 4251-20. And a basic overview of the programming of this device. Programming mode, we'll take a look at that shortly. Manual dial mode, that's for the communicator. And a remote download function, enter a password, and then downloads can be accepted from the RS-232 interface. Now let's check out programming. There are two levels, maintenance and technician level. We'll start with the maintenance level. Default passcodes can be found in the user manual. So here's the maintenance level. Various points can be enabled or disabled. So say if we want to disable this heat detector, it can be done here. There's history to view various panel history events. Program check. This would indicate any user errors that may have been made in the panel's programming. You got walk test, silent or audible, and the results. System, change the time and date. And zone setup, just disable or enabling zones. So that's the maintenance level. Here is the technician level. The first option is auto program. This allows the panel to scan its SLC for any devices. Any new devices are added automatically, and if any devices are missing from the current program, it will prompt the user if they want to remove these devices. Next is point program. Detector and module, we'll select module. These can be added, deleted, or edited. So let's edit a point. Let's pick address 4, which is the 270 SPO on the floor. So here's a basic overview. It's normal. There will be a label here if one was added, the zone, whether it participates in walk test, and the address. So it's enabled, and there's several different point types: pull station, water flow, monitor, smoke conventional, heat conventional, and various non-fire events as well. There's also a large amount of user-defined point types as well. Various control options as well. There's an option for pre-signal, walk test participation, and the zone assignment. This pull station is assigned to zone 2. Up to 5 zones can be added for a single device, and the NFW-50 has up to 20 software zones. Next is the label for the device. You can either add a custom description or use some adjectives and nouns in the panel's library. Next is zone setup. Zones can be enabled or disabled here. There's also special purpose zones, positive alert sequencing, pre-signal, and 2-stage operations. Next is loop setup. Style 4 or 6, and the protocol is always clip on this panel, but many other adjustable panels in the Firewarning series also use light speed. System setup, got a couple more options here. Trouble reminder, the banner, which is the system normal message, time and date, like in maintenance level, timers. This sets various timers for positive alert sequencing, pre-signal, water flow delay, AC loss delay, and so forth. Next are the signal circuits, 2 on this panel, set to enable or disable, the type, there's a couple of options here. There's also a couple of options for non-signaling, silenceable, auto silence, coding, steady march time, California code, temporal, 2-stage, zone assignment, silence inhibit, and here is where the sync type is set if the signal circuit will be running a sync protocol. This panel has system sensor, wheel lock, and Gentex. Next are relays. Relay 2 is not programmable, it's a trouble relay, but relays 1 and 3 can be programmed for different options. Alarm, supervisory, and many other relay options. There's Canadian option for Canadian systems, water flow silence, and light connect. Next is verify loop. Make sure that the system is okay. History and walk test, just like in maintenance level. Option modules. There's the communicator and the ANN bus. So it's enabled. There's auto configure to automatically detect any devices on this circuit. But on the system, it's just the ANN80 annunciator. And finally, there's an option to change the passwords, clear the entire program, either the SLC points or the entire system, and then a program check, which is similar to the program check at maintenance level. As for passcodes, if the passcodes are changed to this panel, there is a backdoor. Once all programming is complete, the panel will restart. Version 4.1 is the latest for these panels. We just wait for initialization. And that is it for the Notifier NFW-50 fire alarm control panel. These will be discontinued in the late 2010s, being replaced with the NFW-50X. The NFW-50, along with its Firelight counterpart, are still relatively common online, and while they may be more expensive than the conventional panels, they are more flexible with selective signaling. If you happen to acquire one of these panels, they make for great beginner or first-time adjustable panels, as they are easy to install and program. The NFW-50 only accepts fire warning detectors and modules, which tend to be more expensive than the Firelight versions. Therefore, the Firelight MS9050 UD may be a slightly cheaper and more compatible alternative to the Notifier version. In any case, if you have any questions or comments on the NFW-50, feel free to post them below. But until next time, have a nice day.